Hello, it's gonna be Gomi here with another video. I woke up this morning and I saw annoying news hot off the tails of UFC 284. We woke up this morning to the pound for pound list revised. UFC 284, where it was pound for pound on the line, lightweight on the line. And what did we wake up to? We woke up to Alexander the Great Volkanovski is still the #1 pound for pound fighter. Yes, if you look at these rankings, they have changed, but not Alexander Volkanovski or Islam Makhachev. Their position remains the same. Jones has somehow rose the ranks. But yes, now the title of this video is more than likely going to be the pound for pound title is the list, and the pound for pound list is bullshizer, because honestly this is bullshizer and this has sapped out so much of my hype for the event. So many people are saying, oh, it should not be the case, Volkanovski should rightfully stay as the pound for pound #1. The MMA community is pretty divided. A lot of people feel that Islam Makhachev should be pound for pound #1. Some people, I don't know. I'm going to keep it my simple version. My simple version is #1 fought #2. #2 defeated #1. Alexander the Great Volkanovski is not the greatest pound for pound fighter. He's not the greatest fighter on the UFC because he had lost to someone in UFC. And that person that he had lost to is ranked #2. Okay. First, let's get into the first thing that a lot of people are going to say. A lot of people are saying that Islam did not win the fight. They're saying, oh, Alexander Volkanovski made him look human and he won that fight. It was a robbery. As you know, the official judges scorecard was going to be 2 judges scoring it 47-48 to 1 giving it 46-49. Now, upon watching it, I thought it was a close fight. I thought it really could have went either way. And I saw that decision and I was like, you know what? I agree with that. I definitely think Islam inched that out. And then I saw Derek Cleary in his 49, 46. I was like, Cleary, what are you on? Then I watched Henry Cejudo's video and his breakdown on it. And he said one thing very vital was watch it without the crowd. And I saw virtually a different fight, honestly. Clearing bias, clearing out the crowd, and I really watched it. And then he said, look at the stats. And I went in and I looked at the stats. So, as you know, MMA fights are scored round by round. It does not matter overall, because I saw another statistic going around there that I could not find that showed that Volkanovski had outstruck Islam Makhachev overall. But let's just look at it, shall we? Round 1, significant strikes, total strikes, and control time are going to be what we're going to look. Actually, no, hold on. I don't need to find that graphic I mentioned. Here we go, right over here. Alexander Volkanovski landed 70 out of 143. Islam landed 57 out of 95. Now, Volkanovski landed more strikes, but if you look, we have better overall accuracy by Islam Makhachev. Islam Makhachev also had 4 takedowns, 7 minutes of control time, as opposed to 3 minutes of control time for Volkanovski. Let's look at round 1. Round 1, significant strikes. Islam landed 10 of 16. Volkanovski landed 11 of 23. Volkanovski landed 1 more strike, significantly, but at a lower percentage. Overall, he threw and missed more strikes. Same thing goes for total strikes. Then, Islam landed 18 of 25. Volko landed 14 of 26. So in total strikes, Islam had outstruck him. Don't forget, 1 takedown with 2 minutes of control time. Islam won that round. Round 2. Round 2, we're even in terms of significant strikes. Both landed 19, but again, Islam landing a slightly more bigger clip at 59%. Then we look at total strikes. Now, Volkanovski lands the same amount, but for more strikes. He threw more. Islam had 1 takedown. Not really much in control time. 57 seconds, 53 seconds for Volkanovski due to reversal. Regardless, that's a very close round. If you're really looking at it, one takedown and a better accuracy for Islam. I'm going to give round 2 to Islam. Round 3, Islam landed 2 more significant strikes at a higher percentage of 72%. Then he landed more total strikes for less strikes thrown. He had 1 takedown. The really contested round, a lot of people are giving Volkanovski is round 3, but like, I'm looking at it right here and now you're gonna say, oh, the damage, oh, damage trumps everything. Are we gonna act like Volkanovski wasn't damaged after the fight? I would just like to mention, are we gonna act like Volkanovski didn't take any damage during that fight? I mean, you literally see the gash right there. He has a gash right above his eye. He has another gash there from an elbow. Like, yeah, visibly looked like Islam took a little bit more damage, but we're gonna act like Volkanovski got away scot-free? No. So looking at this round, looking at the significant strike accuracy, looking at just everything else, the 1 takedown, again, I give round 3 to Islam now. Round 4, this is the stupidest thing. The people are absolutely arguing that Volkanovski won this round. So let's look at significant strikes. Volkanovski landed more, yes, in terms of significant. These were the strikes on the feet, because these 49 of 66 strikes he landed are rabbit punches. They're nothing. They were from the back. Islam had his back. He had 3 minutes of control time. Now you're saying, oh, but Islam sat on his back and did nothing. Oh, no. Well, to that I say, he had his back. He was fighting for his hand control the whole time. If you were to say that Islam did nothing this round, you are going to be discrediting Alexander Volkanovski's great defense. His defense was amazing, so much that Islam Makhachev, a submission expert, was not able to get a submission. It's not because Islam sucks and he did nothing and he was coasting. No, it's because Volkanovski was so good at protecting his neck and hand fighting. That's why Volkanovski was able to not get submitted, but he wasn't good enough that he was able to escape the position. Because if you sit there and say Islam did nothing, then you're saying Volkanovski did less than nothing, which is not the case. And now I see so many people saying, oh, Islam's so boring. He's a lay and pray. I'd also like to mention, and I mentioned this in my breakdown video, do you know when Islam Makhachev's last decision victory was? Yeah, his last decision victory was almost 4 years ago. Almost 4 years ago was his last decision. And you're gonna say Islam Makhachev is a boring lay and pray when he was tied for the longest active finish streak currently at 5. Finish. He's on a 5 finish streak. Because then you're gonna say, oh, he's just a decision king. Well, let's look at Volkanovski's last knockouts. His last knockout was this year. It was April, all right. April last year. When was his last knockout beyond that? Chad Mendes in 2018. I'm not disparaging either person. Volkanovski and Islam are both amazing. But if you say Islam is a boring lay and pray, then you have to say the same about Volkanovski. And I'm not going to say that about either man. I'm not going to discredit either man. Volkanovski did amazing to survive with Islam on his back. But Islam won round 4. So we looked at already. Islam on statistically has won each round. Round 5 is clearly Volkanovski domination. I wouldn't say a 10-8 round, but definitely a strong 10-9. Finished very well. Islam barely landing anything, getting the 1 knockdown of the fight. By the way, a lot of people mentioned that knockdown earlier in the fight, which is just Islam slipping, as you can see officially ruled here. Literally, Volkanovski did amazing as well. He had a minute control time, reversed the position, stuffed both of his takedowns, landed a lot of strikes, a lot of ground and pound. Volkanovski clearly won round 5. But if you look at it, rounds 2 and 3 were very close, but if you really look at it, if you really look at the statistics, I'm going to give them to Islam. The only reason you think Volkanovski won those is because of the crowd roaring at everything Volkanovski did because he was the hometown favorite. Islam won this fight, so he should be number 1 pound for pound. Now you're going to say that's not how pound for pound works. Pound for pound is if they're of the same weight. That's stupid. Pound for pound number 1 and 2 fought. They both made the lightweight limit. But if you're really going to argue that semantics, here is the ranking for pound. A ranking used in combat sports such as boxing, wrestling, or mixed martial arts of who the better fighters are irrespective of their weight, i.e. adjusted to compensate for weight class. Yes. So we were saying, okay, if we were to weigh them the exact same, then Volkanovski would win. Or we could read the very next line in which you say, as these fighters do not compete directly, judging the best pound for pound fighter is subjective and ratings may vary. Well, here's a nice variation. This isn't subjective because these two fighters competed directly. We had number 1 and number 2 fight each other. Then you're going to say, oh, but Islam fought the smaller guy and he didn't win decisively. No, shizer, he didn't win decisively because Volkanovski's too good a fighter. You think Volkanovski was going to dominate him? I know y'all did by the betting odds, but that's just the thing. I knew damn well it was going to be a close fight. And the better man won. Simple as that. It's not like, oh, it was a robbery, a BS decision. No, it's unanimous. And honestly, at first, I highly disagreed with Cleary. But when you look at it, Islam won absolutely 100%. Then let's take into, so you're going to then say, oh, but what about accomplishments? We're going to look at accomplishments. Well, what greater accomplishment is than in October defeating the number 3 ranked pound for pound fighter, beating number 3 and then beating number 1? Who else on this list has beaten, let alone fought, anybody else on the list? Well, you also have Islam Makhachev, who beat 2 people on this list. And keep in mind, he did it in 4 months. He fought Oliveira in October, and then he fought Volkanovski, and he beat him into February. Keep in mind, too, Charles Oliveira was on an 11-fight win streak, and Volkanovski was on a 12-fight win streak. Well, guess what? Guess who has the longest win streak now because he beat the other people who had longer win streaks than him? Islam Makhachev. So if we're looking at accomplishments, if we remove the BS pound for pound subjective bullshizer because we have a big variation in the fact that they fought each other, if we remove all this, why would we not make Islam Makhachev number 1 pound for pound? But you know what? That's just a thing. It's subjective. It's a made up BS list. And this video is not made to argue for Islam Makhachev being pound for pound. This video is made as a remission of me just giving up on the whole validity of this pound for pound list because it's stupid. Because you take everything I put in there and it's a stupid list and who cares anymore? I know I stopped caring. Now, why am I so mad about it? Because why market it? Why market it as the number 1 pound for pound fight? It's not just, oh, Volkanovski said it, he doesn't make the ratings. No, you were marketing this as the number 1 pound for pound will be decided. And it was decided because number 2 beat number 1. Simple as that. And then we're just gonna ignore the fact that Islam did it in his backyard. Only Islam's belt was on the line too. This whole fight was virtually pointless at the case because only Islam's belt was on the line. Yeah, you're going to say it's a title defense for Islam, but Islam could have easily said, oh, I don't want to fight the much harder guy from Volkanovski. I could just fight Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje. He destroy those guys and get an easy title defense, but no, he went with the harder guy. And don't you say, oh, it's the lighter guy. He's fighting the lighter person, so it should be an easier fight for Islam, correct? So then you're basically saying Dustin Poirier shouldn't be number 12. He should be then number 1 because Dustin Poirier is the harder fight because he's the heavier guy, right? No, it doesn't work like that. Alexander Volkanovski was the #1 best fighter in UFC. He fought Islam. Islam won. You don't agree with this? Then guess what? The pound for pound list is stupid. You either agree with what I'm saying or the pound for pound list is stupid. That's my final point on it. This has been your rant with Gomi. Thank you for coming to my TED rant. Bye-bye.